Hey guys, my name is Ellie. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to do something a little bit more different, something a little bit more me. I wanted to bring my personality more into the channel, and I figured today I'll do a cook with me while we chit chat. I'm just gonna talk about some things that's been on my mind, some things that I have gone through, some things that I have learned, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's just get right into it. Today I am making a Mexican style roast. This is a chuck roast that I have right in front of me. So I am just gonna grab a knife and start cutting it up and we can get right into chit chatting. Over the past few years, I have really gone through so much growth. And um, with that growth, I also experienced a lot of pain. I went through a lot of lessons. Um, I saw a lot of different characters from people, and everything was very humbling. Everything was very eye-opening. I've grown a lot spiritually. I've gotten a lot closer to the Lord. Um, and my circle has just gotten very, very small. I'm not mad at it though. Like everything that I went through, I feel like has got me to where I am today. The mindset of where I am today, the things that I'm after, the things that no longer interest me, the people that no longer interest me, like all those things would not have happened. I would not be thinking the way I'm thinking now had I not gone through all of those different changes and all that growth, all that hardship, all the lessons, the betrayals. I wouldn't have, if I didn't go through any of that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't even be posting this video because I'll still be stuck in my old way of thinking? And so I feel like when you're going through these things, you don't really know what's happening, like because you're in it. You're like you can't really think big picture because you're dealing with the physical pain of things. But it's not until you start to see better days and you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel where you'll be like, you know what, this makes so much sense. I needed to go through that, and I'm so grateful that I've gone through that. Like my character has developed so much over the span of like 3 years, 3 to 4 years, and it's insane. So right before I got married, I always dealt with a lot of jealousy from women. I always dealt with it. Like it wasn't as intense as it was over the past 3 years, but I've always dealt with a lot of jealousy from women. And I did not understand why, because a lot of the women that were jealous of me, they always had more and I just wasn't where I wanted to be. I felt like I was very kind. I was very sweet. I was so confused as to why I dealt with so much jealousy. And it's been something I've dealt with all my life. Like all my life, even when I was at my most insecure and I just did not feel good about myself, I still dealt with a level of jealousy that I don't understand. Um and just to pause really quick, I'm cutting the chuck roast into little square pieces like this. This is just so it cooks a little more evenly. And yeah, so it cooks a little faster too, because when you try to cook it so big, I feel like it takes a long time to cook. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just cutting it up. And I already prepped the meat. I already cleaned off the fatty part and cleaned it and everything. So now I'm just cutting it. But yeah, so I just dealt with so much jealousy. Before, the immature me, I would like the idea that people were jealous of me. Like it made me feel good. It made me feel like, oh, I'm doing something right. And don't get me wrong, that's still somewhat my thinking now. Like I know that jealousy is inevitable. Like you're going to deal with it, especially when you're always evolving. You're just going to deal with jealousy. So I get that. But what I'm saying is I used to thrive off of it, and I used to not mind having that energy around me, because it just kind of fueled me to keep going. But as I grown, as I got closer to the Lord, as I've done a lot of inner work and a lot of inner healing, um, I started to realize that that is actually the most dangerous energy to have around you. It's absolutely the most dangerous energy to have around you, because people, you don't know how far, for one, you don't know how far people can go. Thankfully, I have never dealt with a severe case of envy or jealousy or anything like that, to where it was like insane betrayal or I was hurt. I'm so thankful for that, and I ask God to continue to bless me and protect me in that manner. But um bad energy is real. People sending you bad energy, bad vibes, evil eye, all those things, like you can categorize it as bad energy. That's all real. And when you constantly have so much of that around you, it's like it's hard for your blessings to materialize, or for you to get for you to have a good faith, like not good faith, but like good things to happen around you when you're surrounded by so much negativity and so much jealousy, you know? And I feel like I experienced this heavily um in my wedding. And like, just to give you an example of how this can impact you, in my wedding I had bridesmaids. I had about 6 of them, and it's so crazy because I probably only down to talking to 2. The rest I have completely cut off. um and um During that time, I was like the only one. There was one other girl that was already married, but I was like the only other one to be married. So I feel like because of that, a lot of jealousy came to me because they were comparing themselves to me. And I was somewhat younger than all of them. Like by a year, by 2 years, by 3 years, something like that. I was always kind of younger than all of them. And I got married and things like that. And things started moving kind of quick for me. And in my wedding, I didn't feel congratulated. I didn't feel celebrated. I didn't feel um like I just didn't feel like I had good energy around me. Like I felt like they were like secretly waiting for the worst thing to happen to me. Like I just didn't feel uplifted. I didn't feel supported. And me having that energy around me, I feel like played a factor in how everything else went for my wedding. Because honestly, I didn't really enjoy my wedding. And I think that's because, like I said, I had so much negative energy around me. The weather was very unpredictable on my wedding. And, you know, when you're getting married, this is a big deal, especially because I had an outdoor wedding. So I am very dependent on good weather. So I had a lot of things through my mind. I was writing my vows, finishing my vows the same day of my wedding. Things was just moving so quick. I was distracted by so many people that came in. I'm the type of person that get easily overstimulated and easily overwhelmed when I have too many people around me, too many energies, too many people talking to me, and just having the main focus and attention being on me. Like I get very overwhelmed. So when I was dealing with these things, you know, none of the girls like uplifted me. None of the girls checked on me. None of the girls really poured into me in any kind of way. I didn't get a gift from any of the girls. And this is not to bash any of them. I'm just simply discussing that it's very important to be mindful of the energies that you have around you, and that you shouldn't want just any kind of energy around you, you know? So I just didn't have the support I needed. I didn't have the friends I needed. And I had a lot of things on my heart. Like I had a lot of just anxiety. I had like I was scared. It was just a lot of anxieties going through my mind as I was getting dressed, and I just didn't have the right people around me. And um what's crazy is, like, now looking back, I felt like a lot of the girls were secretly competing. They were taking a lot of the things that I have went through. They were taking that in their back pocket, so they know, when they have their time, they can do it better. But it was in a way to like one up me, you know. So I was dealing with a lot of like, just smiling in my face, like acting like everything's okay in my face, but then turn around and just kind of like haha, type of thing. Like I felt that very strongly. And I just didn't enjoy my wedding. And I felt like if I did not have those bridesmaids, if I had a better group of people, if I had better attendees at my wedding, I felt like the energy, the vibe would have just been so much more better, and I would have actually enjoyed it. Like I had so many people there that should not have been there. And this is why I say energy is very important. You should not want jealousy around you, because something as important as your wedding can be ruined by these types of energies. And this isn't the only way that it like bad energy affects you. When I was prior to me, recently starting to post on social media again, and I got into content creation, I was posting a lot of family photos, like a lot of family photos on Instagram. And I was just doing that all the time, sharing all our memories. And I have found, like, I don't know, you guys can say I'm crazy, but I have found that every time I have posted a picture with me and my husband or me and my kids, something happened. Me and my husband gets in an argument. One of my kids gets sick. Like, it was just every time I post, and it was so crazy because I wasn't the only one that noticed it. My mom started to notice it, and she was just like, one day I was in her kitchen and we were just drinking coffee, and she was just like, I wanted to bring something to your attention because this it's just been on my heart. She was like, I don't know why, but every time you post something with your husband, you guys get into an argument. And it was so crazy that she said that, because it was like such an eye opener, such confirmation of what I was already feeling. So I I was just dealing with a lot of, like, I felt like evil eye. I didn't know how to pray heavily against those things because, like I said, I had a very immature mindset. I didn't mind having those energies on around me. I didn't mind letting them see me win. And it wasn't until I started to be affected by it. I'm just putting the roast in this glass bowl, and I'm just going to season it with some black pepper. And for salt, I like to use meat tenderizer just to help the tenderizing process. So that's what I'm going to do now. But yeah, so I just went through so much of that, and it started to really affect me. I felt like because I knew these people were jealous of me, I started to compete back. And I'm not a competitive person at all. I really like to be in my own lane. I love to run my own race. I do my best when I just focus on myself and I don't have people around me. But I was just around it so much. It came from my husband's friends, it came from some of my friends. Like, it was just everywhere around me. And just to give you guys some context, like, my background was very different from the background of my husband's friends' wives. They all went to college. They all, probably grew up with mom and dad. I didn't go to college. I didn't grow up with mom and dad in the house. I only, my mom was a single mom, and I looked kind of different than them. Like, I dressed different. At the time, I was very, I had a lot of sex appeal. I was very curvy. Um, I worked out a lot. I was very confident. My aura was potent, very potent. And so I was just entering into being a wife. I was learning how to be a wife. I wanted to be a godly wife. So everything was like, I was just learning and blooming and all these things. And I felt like the outcast. I felt like I just didn't feel accepted. I felt judged. So many things were said about me, and it just really hurt my feelings. That's just to give you that background of what was going on. So then I started posting and everything. I started getting a lot of negative energies, And I was just tired of going through this. So then after, after I started competing back, after I started to, everything that I post became performative, it was just it was just like a decline in my mental health, like decline. I found that I was just being so affected by this toxicity that it was starting to affect my marriage, because I felt like it was coming from his side, and so I started blaming him. This is crazy how much I have grown out of it. But so then I started to get really deep into God. Like, I started to go to church. I started to pray a lot, and something God told me, like, to just get off social media. Like, I completely cut social media off. At the time, I was really only using Instagram, so I got off social media. Like, I got off social media. I gave it like some time, maybe a month off. Then I got back on it. That happened a few more times, and I started to get really heavy in God. And God just told me to get off social media completely. Get off social media, and that kind of hurt me, because my dream was to always be like a content creator. I always wanted to thrive in the social media space. At the time, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and I'm so glad that I didn't get the opportunity, and I didn't do it then, because who I was then and who I am now is completely different, and I just love this new version of me. So I'm just so grateful for that. Um and that's a testimony for somebody. So like, if you feel like you are being delayed, or you feel like, you really want to do something, and something just being swept from under your feet, and God is just telling you to get out of that space, even though you really want to be in it, just give it some time. There's something that God is trying to prepare in you, instill in you, before he puts you back into that space and gives you a platform. So I completely got off of it, and um I started to just, really work on myself. I started to completely move in silence. Oh, okay, wait. So what triggered it? What triggered it? And I'm just so thankful for her, because everyone has to be a villain in someone's story. So she was just a villain in mine. But she was one of my bridesmaids. I met her through my husband's friend. That was his girlfriend, now fiance and probably wife. But they were always, my husband and him was always kind of forcing a friendship within us, and we always did double dates. But she was always very standoffish, and she just wasn't so friendly. But I was still very nice to her. I didn't take it personal. At the time, it didn't resonate that she was, intimidated or jealous of me. It didn't That's not what I picked up at first. I picked up like maybe she was having problems in her relationship, and so she just wasn't the happiest person. So which, that ends up biting me in the behind. I started to just, invite her into my circle. We did a couple more double dates, and she started to really watch me closely. Like, I noticed that she started to really watch me closely. She was like one of those people that will always watch my stories, the first to watch my story, but never like anything, never comment, never give me my flowers or anything. But every time I see her again, she tweaks something that is similar to me. Like, and only I feel like no one else could see it, but I know me. I know what's me. I just know me. I know when I see me, like, I know when somebody is inspired. So she never really came out and, started to say that she was inspired. She was just taking and stealing certain aspects of my personality, things that I do. And I had got pregnant with my daughter, and, that was good and everything. And then maybe like 5 months or 4 months after I already had my baby, she finds out she's pregnant. She calls me, and she never has called me before, never had called my phone ever. But she felt the need to call me and tell me about her news. And at the time, I was just like, okay, you're really opening up. This is so sweet. And I was like one of the first ones to find out, which was shocking. So I felt so honored. I was like, okay, she's finally opening up. Like, I love this. But the wisdom that I have now, she was doing that to kind of like, oh, I'm pregnant now too. Like, it was kind of to kind of throw it in my face type of thing. I was still very kind to her. We were, cool, whatever. We still went on a couple double dates and stuff. Like, I didn't sweat it. Like, I was just like I said, I like to run my own race. I like to stay in my lane. So whatever. But then, as time went past, like I said, every time I see her or they post or something, it was just very similar to us. It was very similar to me. It was very similar. Fast forward, she had her baby shower, and then she ended up getting engaged. And I knew she felt like, okay, my time is here. Da da da. I congratulated her. I was there for her. All those things. And then, but like I said, it just started to feel like it was like one upping. It felt like very competitive. I just felt that energy heavy. And so then one day we went to church, and then she started being really friendly to my daughter. I guess because she feels like she has what she wants now. So now she started to open up, which I don't like that. But yeah, so she just started to open up. She started to change. And then she said, like, the way she was talking, it sounded very similar to me, like very similar to me. And she even used a phrase that I used, and like a while ago, and she said it, and then she started wanting kind of the same similar things as me. um so I just started to side eye a little bit. I started to pull back a little bit and stuff like that. And we were building a house. Next thing you know, they hurry up and got a house. Like, it was just like thing after thing after thing after thing, like tit for tat. So then, when that happened, I was just like, I never spoke to her about it, and that was like the mistake I made. I should have called. Well, no, I did. I approached her in a way like, hey, I noticed you were like very, standoffish. You were, I was trying to help you out, and you kind of like curved me. Like, what was that about? Like, and she kind of swept it, made me seem like I was crazy. Like, oh, it was nothing. So I just let it go. But that was like all on my heart, because I just felt like, damn, I made you like I made you one of my bridesmaids. You held my daughter. You were in my house. I opened up to you. I shared so much with you. I gave you so much insight. I gave you so much wisdom on what I would do differently, and she took that wisdom to kind of one up me. So it was very hurtful. So one day, she would text me randomly, and I felt like it was more so like when I finally got off Instagram, she would still text me like every blue moon. And I felt like it was because I wasn't on social media and she was just trying to check up on me. So one day I literally just snapped. Like, I snapped. I didn't call her out her name or anything, but I literally read her cards fulfilled. Like, I literally, everything that she has ever done, like, I laid it out. I read her energy. I literally called it all out. And then I blocked her. So then after that, I really got off social media, and I was like, you know what? I'm just so done. I'm so done with these people. Like, I'm just done. And I was off social media for like a year and a half, I think almost 2 years. And it was the best thing for me, like literally the best thing for me. I healed so much from that. I have learned things that I have done wrong, thinking patterns that wasn't serving me. I have learned how to properly vet people. Just because you are a kind person doesn't mean that everyone needs to be in your circle. No, you still need to have boundaries. It's just like a house. You want to add a fence, just like your house has a front door and a lock. That's how you need to think about yourself as well. You need to have a lock on your heart as well, and in your resources, and just your inner life. Because not everyone that comes in is going to be genuine, and you can get seriously hurt by people. So it's important to have these boundaries, and it's important to vet people, vet friendships the same way you would vet a man, a woman. You need to vet your friendships as well, and you need to be equally yoked with the people that you have around you, because that matters. That literally matters. So yeah, so I just started changing my thinking patterns. I've gotten so close to God. I was heavily focused on my marriage. My marriage improved so much. um we started like really blooming. My husband started to started to pick up in his business. Like, everything was just going so well. And all my sweet moments, I kept it to myself. Still took many pictures, but I just never posted them. And it was just so special, and it felt so private and intimate. um birthdays, just nothing was ruined because it was just, I was around good energy. I wasn't influenced by any negative energy. There wasn't no negative vibes. It just felt so good. And so yeah, I just grown so much spiritually, and like now I'm at a place where I'm back on social media, but now I'm back on social media with a purpose. Like I'm not performing anymore. I'm showing up as my authentic self. I don't feel like I need to be super glamour anymore. I don't feel like I need to always look 100% my best. That's not who I am every single day. Like most days I'm like this. So I'm going to show up exactly who I am, and I'm going to do it boldly. Like I feel like that was the most beautiful thing that has happened to me in that space of isolation. Um God has shown me, I was struggling with forgiveness. He was teaching me about forgiveness. Um just, there were some personal things that I was going through in my life that I had to change and develop within my character. I was able to, light was shed on those areas, and I was able to start working on those things. And it was just so much growth has happened. I have completely changed the way I dress. I want to show up as a woman of God. I don't want to be revealing. I'm a wife, I'm a mother to two girls at that. So I'm a role model. So it's very important on how I come out to the world, what I present in front of my daughters. And none of this would have happened had I not went through all those things. And I'm just so grateful. Like I'm just so grateful that I got to experience so much growth in such a short time. And my eyes have been truly open. And now that I'm on there, not only am I not performing, but nothing moves me. Like the bad comments, nothing moves me. Like I feel like I have a veil of protection over me now. Like I'm doing things in God's will now. I'm only moving if God tells me to move. Like everything is within God now, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place to be. I am not worried about the outside noise. I am back to running my own race. I'm not competing with anyone. Anyone that's on my social media that I just do not like, I get a bad ill feeling, I remove them. If I feel like removing them causes confrontation, or it's just going to draw like more drama, then I just simply mute them, and I don't open up their stories. I don't look at none of their stuff. I just simply mute them. But for the most part, I have pretty much removed everyone that does not make me feel good, or that just does not add any value to my life. And that is such a strong, powerful place to be. So, um, yeah, I've grown so much. Like I've grown so much. Like God has worked on my confidence. Um, he has, like even the fact that I'm wearing, right, like this band. I'm wearing, let me show you this band, right? I'm gonna tell you why it's such a big deal, because I put stuff like my wedding ring on a pedestal, and I always wanted people to see that I was married, and like I was, like I had a rock on my finger. And now I don't even think like that no more. Like I am very humble about my marriage and my blessings and things like that. I'm just like, look, like that's not what makes me. That's not who I am. That's not all I am. I meant, like, I'm more than just the material things. And if that is what is drawing the jealousy or whatever, then girl, y'all can have that. Like as long as it give me my peace, long as I'm in under the will of God, and I'm walking the right path, y'all can have all that material stuff. Y'all can have the big house and the big rings and all of that. I don't want none of that. I just want what God wants for me. I want simply my portion, literally, quite literally. I just want my portion. Um, so yeah, that's really what God did for me over this span of isolation. He has downloaded so much vision into my life, so much creativity. He has shown me my gifts. He has made me realize my worth. Like there's just so many things that he has instilled in me. Um, that happened in the space of isolation that I simply just do not regret it at all. And now that I'm back on it, it's like oh crap. Okay, hold on. Now that I'm back on it, I just feel like I'm ready to take over the world. Like it's just like, yes, like let's go. Like this is who I am and I'm just going to be me. Like this is me. This is me. Literally, this is me and I'm coming. I'm coming. So oh my god. All right, so now to cooking. I'm gonna pan fry the meat. Don't be afraid of isolation. Like isolation, listen, I was getting so accustomed to it. Like I was finding so much peace in it that God had to tell me multiple times to get out of it. Like I had it in my mind, like in my spirit to start posting back on social media because I was only using TikTok, which I really love TikTok. Like I feel like I don't deal with any of those monitoring spirits and all those things on TikTok. I just don't. And I think it's because no one knows me and everyone's very supportive, which I love. But in order for me to grow and get to where I want to get to, I need to utilize all platforms, especially after they banned the whole TikTok app. Like, I cannot just put my eggs in one basket. So, my dream was to always have like a nice following on YouTube and make YouTube like my main source. But I want to start using Instagram and things like that as well. So yeah, God had to literally tell me like, hey, you need to start posting. And I swear, it's like that's been in my spirit for like 2 weeks before I actually started posting. Right before I posted my first video, because what I was posting wasn't just like a family photo. I wasn't posting family photos. I was posting my content, like things of me. Like I haven't posted that. I haven't never posted like that. And I'm posting in front of the people that I felt all this negativity from. So it was a big deal for me. I was very scared. I was I was just I was so scared to deal with that again. So that's what took me some time. I'm not cooking this like entirely. I just want to fry it a little bit. So I have these green tomatoes. I'm going to clean them and then I'm going to boil them a little bit. And I feel so good. Like I feel so good. The only other thing is I want to start working on my wardrobe. I want to start dressing dressing like the person I envision myself to be, That's what I want to do. That's perfect. So now I'm going to add it into the crock pot. Okay, now that this is cooking, I like to cook it with the steam trapped, so I don't vent it for about like 40 minutes. And then once that's up, I'll vent it just so the water can start to evaporate and the juice gets a little bit more thicker. So now I'm going to make the rice. And for my family, 2 cups is enough to wash my rice. And add in some sofrito. I get this one from Key Foods. Cento double concentrated tomato paste. I'm just going in with some of that. A little bit of vinegar. That's good. Once it gets to like a nice boil, I turn it down to like a low medium, and then I cover it and let it finish cooking. about, I'll say like an inch thick. So when the rice look like this is perfect. All the water has evaporated. You want to turn it on the lowest setting, and you want to just bring everything to the top. And I really love using a rice spoon. It just helps really stir the rice without making it mushy. So no, it's not mushy or anything. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish the plantains, and then I'm going to quickly serve me a plate, and I'll show you guys the final results. But yeah, that pretty much sums up my video today. I really enjoyed spending time with you guys. I'm really grateful that you guys are here with me. If anything resonated with you today, in this video, if you're currently going through the things that I have been through, just keep going, just keep praying. You're gonna come out on the other side. God is just teaching you things, He's strengthening you, and you're gonna be just fine. And like I said, do not shrink yourself, love yourself, take up space, and those people will either move or they will come around. So always remember that you are powerful, you are beautiful, and I really hope that this encouraged you. Bye guys, love you. Mwah.